Alright. EXO. EXO.
Yes?
What have you got for us this time, EXO?
Well, today, we have gathered on the Unversed Cast to talk about one of the biggest games of 2023, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
This is more like Tears of the Rye Rule, and you'll know why in just a minute.
But before we do, I'm happy to announce the return of a much beloved segment of Unversed Cast, the Uncle Mike's Fanfic Corner, where we read fanfiction just for fun.
So we're going to talk about Majora's Mask. But before we do, it's time.
No!
It's time.
No, we're not. I'm vetoing this. Ryan and I have decided that we don't want to do Sonic High School anymore.
Nursing his sore hand, Sonic looked at Clit with a pitiful mix of confusion, fear, and sadness. I thought I was the star. My man, you are a star. You are a star consultant.
King K, so far, what do you think?
I don't think I've even been paying attention, to be honest.
No.
Now, gentlemen, I have a choice of 3 Zelink fanfictions for you today. So we have Link times Zelda locked in, The Trouble with Towels, or A Love Letter for Zelda. So, which do you guys want to read?
It's gotta be Trouble with Towels, right?
Gotta be the towels. What the? No. I said I wasn't going. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, EXO. I'm not giving you what you want.
Trouble with Towels.
You already did.
Let's go.
Just now.
Trouble with
you
Towels.
Screamed. Are we doing the towel one?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We're Trouble with Towels. Here comes the link.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This is going to be delicious.
No, don't say that.
I'm going to zoom this in to make it easier to
It's so
read.
long. And that's not what she said.
No, this is one of the shorter ones. I made sure that they were all less than 5,000 words. This is only like a couple pages.
You know what I'm glad about? Is that nobody is ever going to be able to find the 2 fanfictions I posted to this site a long time ago.
I imagine that they're both Kingdom Hearts 3 fanfictions.
They're about Persona and Xenoblade. There's one I think about Kingdom Hearts as well. Yeah.
Okay, so this is The Trouble with Towels by Heteroceric-Heart. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah. The room held the silence of a gunslinger's sunrise. Imagine 2 bitter rivals, backs turned against a red sky, quick fingers itching for the trigger. The typical short gust of desert air whistles over the town, creating a dramatic effect with the gunman's clothing. Throw in a tumbleweed or 2 just to keep with tradition. Townspeople have fled inside their homes, locked the shutter, but still peek through the cracks of their homes. They are waiting for the climax, the conclusion. One will stand, and the other will fall. Several moments of tense silence tick by, and the world forgets to breathe. Suddenly, the 2 duelers whirl around, the click of the trigger, and the thunder of gunpowder explodes in the still desert air. "Link, get your hands off!" Zelda said, irritated, pulling the towel back toward her. Link just grinned cheekily at her and held on all the tighter, managing to gain some ground on her. She looked at him, truly startled for a moment. Then that surprise bubbled fiercely into a simmering pot of determination, and she tugged the towel with a surprising amount of strength. The struggle continued without the evidence of a clear winner, as both combatants showed an equal amount of devoted, if not strange, purpose to rip the white terry cloth from each other. Idly, Link noted, "You know, if we were smart like that King Solomon fellow, we'd just cut the towel in half and call it even."
Why do you make him sound like Mario from the Super Show?
Luigi! Yo. My prize-winning spaghetti sauce is finished.
I was going for, excuse me, princess.
Excuse me. Hey!
Well, excuse me. Hey!
Zelda muttered something under her breath that was basically on the lines of cutting something else in half.
His cock. His fucking cock.
His cock and balls.
And balls.
What was that? Link asked teasingly. You say you would cut the towel in half? Ah, bad choice. I would never do such a thing, which proves that I'm the rightful mother of the towel. I win, he said triumphantly. Zelda rolled her eyes and sighed. Please, Link, I have to take a shower before we meet Malon at the movies. So do I, Zelda, which started this whole mess in the first place, Link pointed out in a matter-of-fact tone. Come on, Link, I had it first, Zelda said stubbornly, gripping it tighter in her hands. But it's the last clean one, Link protested. Well, you're a boy. You don't even care about hygiene, Zelda retorted. Can you tell a woman wrote this? Zelda retorted, an amused smile flickering on her lips at his mock-wounded expression. Why, you, He faltered for a moment, trying to come up with an appropriate term. Unchauvinist? He finally declared with pride. What? Zelda asked, a giggle escaping from her and stopping her struggle with the towel for a moment. Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, let's just put this aside for now, Link decided, tossing the towel onto the shelf it had come from. He pointed an accusing finger at Zelda. Unchauvinist? You are the opposite of a chauvinist, man. You think all men are dirty slobs. Some of us are more refined, Link said defensively, putting on an air of insulted pride. Zelda burst into laughter, clutching her sides helplessly. I'm not even sure if that makes sense, but I like it, she gasped out between laughs. After getting herself under control, she grinned wryly at Link. Oh, and refined? Uh-huh. This was coming from the man who left a pizza box under the bed with 2 slices still in the box for a month. Well, I eventually took care of it, he said, believing that to be a perfectly acceptable explanation. He quickly moved on. Anyway, that's not the issue. Now, let's settle this towel business like gentlemen. Okay, she said, crossing her arms. So what's the plan? You surrender the towel to me, Link stated plainly, as if this was the only course of action possible. And why should I do that? Zelda asked airily. Because otherwise, Link said threatening, grinning widely at her. This! He rushed at her, stretching out his fingers and tickled her madly. Peals of laughter leapt from Zelda's throat. She tried feebly to push his hands away as he tickled her relentlessly.
Oh my god.
Link started laughing too, more from Zelda's expression than anything else. Can't breathe! Zelda eventually gasped out after several minutes of intense tickling. Link stopped his attack. So, we have an agreement? He asked her after she'd regained her breath. Absolutely not, she said simply, holding her sides protectively. Link paused for a moment, his attack thwarted by the placement of her hands. How do we settle this then? Well, she said, a smirk tugging at her lips, since I do all the laundry, I think the towel belongs to me. I've done laundry before.
You say they don't have sex in this? This seems a lot like it's gonna happen.
I've done laundry before, Link protested, and then snapped his fingers with a victorious expression. In fact, I did this very load of towels. It was last week. I remember because the shady guy that hangs around the laundromat kept trying to sell me detergent, he finished, a grin of triumph crossing his features. Zelda was at a loss for a moment because she knew he was right. He had done the last load. Well, I do the laundry about 90% of the time, so I don't think that counts, she said in rebuttal. Link pondered this for a moment, and then a knowing smile crept across his face. Zelda, he said in a knowledgeable tone, walking closer to her. I know what this is about. What?
Just, normal confused. Conversations, talking about loads.
I know what this towel business is really about, Link reiterated. Oh, really? Zelda asked, amusement glittering in her eyes. This was never about you having the towel. You just didn't want me to have it, Link sighed, placing a hand on her shoulder and said, You don't have to be so coy, Zelda. You could have just asked. Zelda decided to play along. All right, so tell me, Link, why don't I want you to have the towel? Link's hand abruptly snagged her by the waist, the one on her shoulder snaking down to her hip, and he pulled her as close as physically possible. His breath tickled her neck as he leaned in and whispered huskily in her ear, You just wanted to see me walk around the house wet and naked. Laughing, Zelda wrapped her arms loosely around his neck, her fingers playing with the collar of his shirt. Tempting, she murmured, but I have to admit that wasn't my plan. Well, that's why they call them plans, not destiny, love. They can change, Link explained eagerly, leaning back a little to look into her eyes. As an afterthought, he added, What was your plan anyway, now that you've admitted to having one? In answer, Zelda just smiled mischievously and ran one finger lightly down his spine. Link's body shuddered and he let out a convulsive laugh. He called out, Hey, not fair! As Zelda darted toward the shelf, snagged the towel, and dashed out of the bathroom. After recovering from his spine tickle, he ran after her. Wait! He
spine
thought and
tickle.
paused. He stood in the doorframe, watching Zelda dash into the kitchen and smirked. Sweetheart, unless if you're planning on bathing in the sink, I think you're going the wrong way. He leaned against the doorframe, deciding to play the waiting game. But I have the towel, Zelda sang victoriously from around the corner. And I have the shower, Link sang back. After a moment, he decided to abandon his post and go on the offensive after all. Zelda was so caught up in her victory dance, she failed to notice as Link crept slowly into the kitchen. He almost didn't want to stop her, as her I have the towel dance was extremely cute. But there was more pressing matters at hand. Link snuck behind her and trapped her around the waist. She, in response, held the towel out straight, far enough so he couldn't reach it. Well, Link began, recognizing the deadlock. Stalemate? Zelda thought for a moment and then nodded. Agreed. A smile spread upon Link's face, and he said slowly, If I might suggest a solution? You might, Zelda said, a giggle escaping her. He spun around her. Why don't we share the towel? He ventured, waggling his eyebrows suggestively. Zelda pretended to weigh her options and finally nodded. I guess that could be acceptable, she murmured, leaning forward and kissing him deeply. Any thoughts of movies, understandably, were driven quickly from their minds. Malon checked her watch for the final time and sighed. They were officially 30 minutes late. She was just glad that she hadn't bought her ticket yet, as she would have missed the beginning of the movie. Just waiting another 5 minutes, she figured they probably weren't coming. She decided they'd all better just plan to watch the movie another time. Had they been any other two people, she would have been mad that they blew her off. She could only laugh, though, as she started up her car. Newlyweds, she muttered to herself, chuckling. So what do you think, Ryan? That wasn't so bad, was it?
Oh, I'm fine.
All right.
Dude, that was made in 2008.
Man.
Yeah, there's some interesting apocrypha to be found here on fanfiction.net. I was telling Ryan that there was a Golden Sun 3 fanfiction that's like a paragraph long that could be taken as an alternate to Dark Dawn.
There's actually a KH3 fanfic I mentioned in my video on it that it went for like 100 chapters or something, and it almost told a complete story of what KH3 could have been. It probably wasn't very good. I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember I read the whole thing, but then they stopped updating it.
Yeah,
it's called KH3 Brotherhood of Dark, if anybody ever wants to read it.